Ho, ho, ho. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, Eric. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Enjoying being on vacation, eating way too many cookies. But such is the season.
I like your hat. I regret not having a similar hat.
Why, thank you. I stole it from my child's dress up clothing, so it's about 18 sizes too small, but, it works. So, yeah. So, for those of you who have not tuned in before, this is Dr. Barth and my weekly get together where we hack on crazy things. And recently we've been doing Unity.
And we were sort of experimenting with simulation type games in quotes. Like we haven't really gotten to the gameplay aspect, but more just sort of the world building simulation kind of experimentation kind of phase.
I mean, we're learning Unity, as we've said many times. We have no idea what we're doing.
That's a very key aspect of what we're doing here.
Well, but we built like Breakout. Was that even the first one?
We had a one episode where we tried to do Pong to just sort of like open the program and look at the buttons and turn our heads sideways. But yeah, but then we actually tried to build Breakout. We got to a playable Breakout. Like that was a totally playable game.
Yeah, except the code was terrible, or the thing was terrible.
We're learning. Like it's an iterative process.
And then after Breakout, we did this last thing, right?
Yeah, so the last thing we had like a cube with a bunch of balls that bounced around and bumped into each other and turned festive colors, and that one I thought was pretty cool. Like I feel like it had some like emergent behavior that was very interesting.
Yeah. So before the show, we were talking about what we should do, and we could continue on the ball thing, and maybe we will still. But we were thinking tonight. I actually took a couple hours out of the afternoon just for fun and was hacking around in Unity, and I was showing Dr. Barth right before the show what I did, and we were maybe going to hack with that for a little bit. So if you want to follow along at home, this is the code that we're working from, and shall we?
Yeah, I'd love to see a tour of this thing you made.
Okay, let me press the right buttons here. Buttons are pressed. So this is, again, like an hour and a half of hacking, which would suggest I have now even the smallest minimalist idea of what works in Unity. So this thing generates a little cube, flattens it, and then generates these little gray balls, which are supposed to be rabbits. They don't know how to hop yet. And then every about 5 seconds, I think, it generates a green thing with some random as to how some random away from 5 seconds. And the green thing is like food. So as this is currently balanced, it has way too many rabbits. The rabbits don't know how to die, they don't know how to reproduce, and there are no wolves or anything to eat them. Also, the rabbits can see infinitely far. Those are all obvious things that we could change.
But, that one like went off to the other direction to get the other food.
So currently every second they have a coroutine that runs, and every second they update their plan. And otherwise they will go towards the saved plan point. One of the other things that they should do is they should know how to wander around idly, because it's really dumb that they just sort of stop. And wander around idly would be much more important if they had a vision radius, because then they would need to wander into vision of food.
It sort of seems like they're all stacking on top of each other. Like because they all execute a very similar plan. Once they get closer to each other, they're going to continue to converge over time.
I actually don't know how to fix that.
Well, if they had a wander component, or if they went at different speeds, or had some differentiating factor.
Yeah.
Or if they wanted to be away from each other.
It sounded like you were interested in hacking with this.
Well, I'd love to just start off with a tour and show me and the viewers like how you built this. Like how does it work?
Yeah, so as I said, this was actually quite simple. The sort of standard that you see, right? So we have a few materials. This is just the GitHub plugin is buried in there because I'm trying to learn how to do GitHub. There's 2 prefabs. There will eventually be more, but there's plant and prey.
Oh, I see. You've already planned for there to be predators. The bunnies they look innocent now, but they're already destined to be prey.
Correct. That was the original point. And this initially spawns at like 100 by 100 in the thing, but then when the script takes over, it makes it smaller. There's one scene, and then there's a few scripts. So on the terrain is a single spawner script, which probably should be split into 2. but right now it does all of the spawning. Can you all see, or do I need to make it bigger?
I think we can see, but if you collapse the bottom pane, it'll make it easier.
Okay. So this does both the food spawning and the prey spawning.
Oh, we should say hi to Hal. Hal's in the chat.
Oh, it's a Hal!
Ho, ho, ho. I will read the emoji as ho, ho, ho.
Happy Santa!
Welcome, Hal.
There's this initial food density because I found that it was weird sort of waiting for the food to spawn, so it spawns up a whole bunch at once. And then the max food density. These have turned out are really small because what they are is they're a percentage multiplied towards, and this is down here, percentage map towards the square area, which turns out to probably be wrong. Like I probably want to express density in like number per 10, like number per acre or whatever.
Instead of number per like size of the universe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. And food per second, this is the spawn rate of food. This is how many food are there. This is the limit, although you can exceed that limit with the initial spawn, depending on what you do. This is the next time of spawn. So then spawn prey, it picks a random location. It instantiates the prey prefab, and it puts it underneath the thing that we are. Spawn food, picks a random location, same thing, except it also signs up for the on death notification so we can keep our food count accurate, and it does the food count. And then when the plant died, which is right here, drops it. This is how we map from our density expression, which, as I said, is not the best way I could have done it, but to an actual number. And then in start, we size the map. All of this really should probably happen, or at least, yeah, all of this probably should happen based on some editor trigger in some like shared function, but I never quite got to that. I'm not fully teched up on the editor yet. And then finally, every tick, we check to see if it's time to spawn a food, and if we can, because we're still under the limit. And if we do, then we calculate how long we spawn one, and then we calculate how long until the next spawn time. Then I try and flex by half.
This pattern is always interesting to me. Like I think this is the way Unity is wanting us to do this, but the fact that I'm used to systems that have timer heaps in them, where you'll schedule something to happen in the future, it'll go in the heap, and then it will like bubble up at the appropriate time, as opposed to every time through the game loop checking, oh, is it time to spawn the food?
Yeah. I believe this is how so you can also do the coroutine thing for timers, which I can actually show you in. Oh, I had a coroutine here, I think. Because in start. No, where do I do a coroutine? Oh, it's in the rabbits. I really should have called this rabbit, but it turns out renaming things takes a little more effort. So this is the rabbit, or called prey currently. What food am I chasing after? Because it has a very simple planner that only knows how to chase after food. What speed? This probably should go up. Am I dead or not? Which doesn't do anything yet. Except as an exit loop for my coroutine. And where am I supposed to eat? This probably should be set on like how close, because I was finding that it would get, I felt like it was like colliding with the food and then not able to eat it. So I don't know if I was perceiving that right or not. Anyway, so I have a threshold for when it eats.
So it's like a distance threshold, like when the prey gets within that threshold.
It'll think it's close enough and then it'll eat.
Gotcha.
I suspect I could remove this and or set it smaller. But anyways, this was the quick hack. So I do start a coroutine, which does planning. We can go look at that. This just while I'm not dead, finds the closest food, this is like literally copied out of the Unity docs. Because if you Stack Overflow for like how to find the closest object with a tag, it's like, go read this section of the Unity docs and just copy it. So I did.
Why it's not a library function? I don't know.
Welcome to Unity. I mean, I think the reality is you don't want to do something like this, because if you are finding closest things, you want to be storing your data structures fancier. And right, I actually don't. When I give these things a vision radius, I don't want these. Like I want find closest within distance, and so it needs to then.
That makes sense.
Do something a little fancier. Anyway, so it finds the closest and updates that, and otherwise it waits until another second to plan. And then Yeah, if I have a target food, I figure out my distance to it. If I'm beyond that distance, I go look at it and translate towards. Theoretically, I probably should have like a rotation speed, which I don't. This will instantly rotate, but they're also spheres, so you can't tell. And then I eat the plant when I get to it.
Oh my gosh.
And is that it?
Let's look at the plant.
Oh, the plant doesn't do anything. This should be moved. I made an edible, and I was going to turn it in an interface and stuff, but I just didn't. Again, this was like 90 minutes of hacking.
Cool. This looks really neat.
So, yeah, I'm glad you like it. So, what should we do?
Well, I mean, what bugs you the most about it? Deep thinking.
So, I think the next thing I was going to hack at was that the rabbits and the lettuce or whatever are out of balance. There's a whole bunch of ways I could fix that.
When you say out of balance, you mean there are way more rabbits than lettuce, and so the rabbit should starve?
Yeah, that would be that would be one of many good ways to fix it.
I think that'd be interesting because I'm interested in the sort of the dynamical behavior.
Did I get a grade from maybe Hal?
I think so. I think you aced this rabbit prey simulator.
I love it. I passed the interview. You were saying, sorry, you like the dynamic behavior?
Yeah, of like we did with the bouncing balls, where if they do something in a certain period of time, then they get happy and multiply, and otherwise they die out. Like it seems like we're primed to do that.
Let's do it. I think that'd be so easy. So,
oh, Hal has another chat message if you want to project it.
Oh, time to hack at the rabbits. No mercy for rabbits.
No. We want to cuddle the fluffy buddies.
Well, I want to eat the rabbits. I think that would be a good goal, but I think
slow down. Let's eat the lettuce first.
But so I tried to set them up so they could get eaten. Hence
by calling them prey. Like you're really hinting pretty hard that the rabbits are going to get eaten at some point.
I think if we just do float hunger. Like hunger is this is like fullness. And then the idea is that when you eat something, you like increment your fullness up to. And then the other thing is that we can update our plan to not go chasing after food when we're not full.
Oh, I see. Well, that's cool.
Like I think the plan, like this is the simplest planning function ever. It does one thing.
I see. So maybe we should have like a play function that if it's the rabbit is sufficiently full, then it's going to play.
Play or just wander.
I mean, what do rabbits do for play? Maybe what they do is wander.
How would wander work? I guess you just pick a.
I would just pick a random direction and then go there, and then whenever it's 1 second later and time to replan, if I'm going to wander again, I'll pick a new target and I'll aim there.
Okay. Should we generalize the wandering to not be a target food, but rather like a target location?
Sure.
I mean, we do end up using the target food when we go to eat it.
I think it could be a separate state, which is like my wander destination.
Right, so enum state is like the plan, and we're wander or eat.
Hunt. I guess they gather more than hunt, really.
Sure, gather. Okay. So you taught me this, that everything is a state machine. So I'm going full state machine. Of course, that was like 10 years ago, so maybe your opinions have changed. So plan. Okay. And so now.
Should we initialize it? Because I don't want to start out in some weird state.
So everything is 0 in C#. So I presume that it would end up as wander. I don't know that for sure.
Plan And it's also a function, so you're going to want to just give it a fancier name so we don't
Oh, I see.
slide on the names here.
I mean, we could also just change the name of the plan, but yeah, okay. Pre-plan, great.
It's funny that plan is both a verb and a noun. Like when you plan something, you end up with a plan.
This is very true. Okay, so while not dead, we need to decide if hunger is less than, what is it, fullness? Is less than 0.5. Then we do, what do we call it? Plan is equal to plan.
I call it objective now because I'm trying to mess you up.
Go for it. Or you can fix it. Saw your cursor. Believe in you.
Boom.
Else, we're gonna plan under. Okay, and then target location is equal to random dot on unit. It's not on unit sphere.
How big is the world? Like, does it know how big the world is?
It doesn't, but it can calculate this from speed, right?
I'm just worried that it's going to walk off the edge of the cliff and then
Oh.
fall to its death. Which is, I guess one thing that could happen to the prey. But
yeah, so part of this is off of like a YouTube video that I saw. Like I saw someone who built this, and I was like, oh, I wonder if I could build that. And that's exactly thing that's like pathable terrain.
What is a pathable terrain?
Oh, there's this whole system in Unity, which I'm trying to remember what it's called. Navigation, nav mesh.
Oh, do we need a nav mesh?
I mean, I don't know that stuff well, so that would take us more than 45 minutes to execute on. But that could solve this problem. That's a giant hammer for this. We'd generate some nav mesh, and then we could tell our things to go on it. And I'm sure there's like a way to tell your nav mesh I want to go to a nearby random location or something.
That seems a little more fancy than what we need at the moment. Maybe we'll come back to that if we're enjoying the rabbit simulator so much.
But we could. So I think our vector 3 location is equal to random unit sphere. But we want to remove the y, right? So this is times x speed, and then location dot y is equal to 0. Sure.
Okay.
And then we need to constrain this to the bounds of the map, which this thing doesn't know anything about.
Could we put up a wall around the map? Like the rabbit could like walk into the wall and then the wall would stop it with physics? I guess we're just directly translating. We're not using physics here.
I think we could just let the rabbits wander off the edge of the map for,
that'll be entertaining. Anything else?
Okay, so target location is equal to location. Okay. And
more T's.
More T's?
I put a T in for you.
Vector 3 target location. Okay, and now in our update, this is the if.
Should we switch on the state?
Yeah. Well, I was just going to do an if cascade, but I was going to move this out into a,
Oh yeah, totally.
Void. And I've seen this from other Unity tutorials that this is the pattern of that. Your update. It's like, did you ever do any Win32 programming?
Mm-hmm. It's like your main message loop where you're just like dispatching.
It was like on handle message or something.
everything Windows would do would like dump you in this one function, which is your window proc.
Yes, correct.
Oh, did you move the mouse? Oh, did you
Yeah.
click on a button? Did you get a keyboard? Did you like?
You're bringing back PTSD, but yes, exactly.
No, WinProc is great.
Okay, so void. What the hell was this called? Oh, the other thing, poor viewers, my mental acuity normally declines by this hour, but I've started getting up at like 5 in the morning now, and so this is like bedtime for me. Anyways, I'll do what I can with my remaining brain cells. This is food. Oh, this is gather. Do gather. Do gather tick? I don't know. Do gather update? Wander update. I feel like sort of odd names, but sure, let's do it. Void do wander. C# really fights my speculative programming style.
Because it like tells you you did it wrong because you called a function that didn't exist.
It also aggressively autocompletes, but only to things that it knows exist.
It doesn't autocomplete to the things that are in your brain about what should exist.
I feel like other languages, when you are clearly typing something that's off the autocomplete path, will fight you less.
Yeah, this thing really wants to autocomplete to like the DirectX, like crazy thing that you had no intention of using.
Correct. Okay, so basically this. What the heck's it called?
Target location, right?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, this isn't quite right because it's going to be on the ground, and so this might cause us to go down.
Oh, is there a height? Like we can set the y of the target to ry rather than 0.
I think that's what you want.
What is it? Transform height.
Just transform.y is fine.
Right.
Yep. Location.y. Why is that erroring for me? Location has no.
Oh, position.
Position. Yeah, it's position.
Y. Oops.
But that means that the only reason why this one is working for the target food
It's because the food is at the same.
happens to be at the same height. So really, we should be laundering both of these.
So like an update, we want to like get our fullness. What do we call our fullness? Fullness. How much our fullness go down every tick?
Yes, our fullness should go down.
Something to do with the time delta, right? Like,
sure. Yeah, we could set that up here too, right? We have like a hunger per minute.
I was going to say metabolism.
Hunger loss per minute or per second.
Probably our metabolism.
Okay, go for it.
Is that enough? I don't know.
I don't know. That's per second, right? So that's fine. Sure, why not?
I guess every 10 seconds that'll change. I don't know.
Also, there's like a cap to your fullness, right? Like you don't. Well, how much? Or okay, sure. Let's just try this. And like, how much does eating give us? Oh, wow! It fills our fullness 100%.
No.
I don't know. Sure, why not? Like all these things need to be like tweakable, right? Public float.
It's like the calorie content. Like, what's the? It should be a property of the food, really.
Gather threshold equal to 0.5. And this is max or range 0 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
What's like the nutrition value? Like the
Sure. You can say nutrition value, sure. And maybe different things have a different, but we can get to that later. Like one of the things that's weird is that we're not making like a pure simulation here because we're so caught up in the like, there's like a visualization aspect too.
Target food, get component plant. So I could just say,
no, let's just hard.
Oh, you know, like, get it from there.
Let's just hard code it for now.
We can hard code it, but I totally think each should return it.
Okay, fine. You're right.
Isn't that way more awesome code?
It is way more awesome code.
Imagine you have to follow the awesome code and do what it says.
Follow the over design. Turn it to 11.
Nutrition.
All right, where are you?
Oh, I'm in the plant.
Oh. We can delete these. We know how to type start an update if we need to. App location info?
It auto-completed.
So for these things that are spawned, like this is where the plants, the spawners really need to be split out into multiple different objects because you want all these toggles, like how much nutrition should be on the plant spawner and not on the plant itself. But it's fine because we never like are able to, well, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways.
So you want to use the gather threshold here, right? When you check for.
Yeah, that was why I added it. Exactly. Okay.
I feel like some of these things should be. Is this going to work? Oh yeah, I did a rename.
Where are you? Oh, you hit F2.
I'm just going to like try to separate out our private state from our public state. Maybe I'm just sort of overdoing this, but E threshold. What is the E threshold? Oh, that should be public, right?
I'm lost as to where you are. Okay, I see.
I'm just messing with the variables at the top of the prey class to figure out like which ones are parameters and which ones are state.
Okay. Eat threshold, max speed. What is the eat threshold?
I don't know. You put this in. This is that's your distance from the.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's still mad about line 86 here.
Double to float for me. Unity is double, or not Unity, but C# is double and float separation is. All right. I think we're good enough. I want to hit the play button. I have no idea what this is going to do.
I don't know. I think they're all going to walk off the cliff and die.
Whoa. I'm going to zoom in.
They're wandering around. Oh, some of them got hungry. They're all going to get hungry at exactly the same time.
Okay. That's a good point.
They're all hungry.
Okay. They need to die.
They need to die. I mean, in the nicest way possible.
Yeah. So also we need to lerp their color so we can see how hungry they are.
Okay, totally. Or are they gonna like start turning pale and sickly or something?
Let's turn red or something like that.
Just based on what their state is, like their plan.
Yeah, I mean, we could have it draw things above them.
Oh, like in The Sims, it like puts a little like I would search for food.
Yeah, totally. We could do all that, but let's just change the color now.
I don't know. I'm totally into the like thing appearing above their heads. That sounds awesome.
So how do we do this?
Don't we just have a child object that we enable or disable depending on the state?
I'm again going to pull us back to the simple thing so we can move on to the next thing.
That's fair. Fair enough.
Okay, so we need to set their color here, which is going to be get component render, I think.
We did this before in the other project.
Material.
Go steal from ourselves.
Maybe it's get component material. I feel like I lose, like sometimes I foobar my, you'd have to look is what I'm saying. Because otherwise my Visual Studio Code sometimes gets confused if I pull up a different project.
Okay, I can try to pull it up. But
show that color. Yeah, okay, this looks good. Lerp. Color.lerp. Yep. All right, so we're lerping from whatever our normal color is. Full color to hungry color. Red color. And with,
we could just set it based on the plan. Like we don't have to actually lerp it if we just want to go totally simple.
set it based on what?
You could just assign it based on what our plan is. And
oh, it was less the plan. Oh, the plan would be interesting. I can feel like I can see the plan. What I want to know is how close to death they are. Like how hungry they are.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So this isn't quite right, but this is the sort of the.
Why is that not right? That looks awesome to me.
Well, so for one, it's lerping from full to dead. And so when fullness is 1, it will be dead, which is wrong. Also, fullness, I'm not sure, goes from 0 to 1 because I feel like it's possible to go above 1 when you eat.
Okay, well, we could just reverse the order to solve that problem. I think the fullness should cap out at 1. Like,
the problem is that when we eat at 0.5. I see. Okay. I could see that.
I think it's legit to clamp your fullness at 0 and 1.
Well, but I think this belongs in the eat right here. Not there.
Okay.
Right, this belongs here. Whatever. Like this is the only place you ever change fullness.
Well, we also changed it right here on line 100.
Oh, I see. Okay. That's fine.
Add a function, right? Like for
okay, I'm going to set the full color in start because we need to do that. So color, full color, color, dead color, colors, dead. Our Unity skills have way increased. Full color is equal to component material. It's not hacking C++ or Flutter, but I feel like I'm starting to find adjust fullness. Oh, interesting. Okay.
You catch the material. I feel like I read these things early on that told me that I should do this. And I just like cargo culting it the whole time.
I mean, the give component could be expensive, but sure, why not? We're running in an update method. That will impact our ability to have 6,000 of these bunnies on screen at once.
6,000 bunnies. Well, I mean, in the other project, we really went crazy with the number of bunnies.
The number of balls bouncing.
Yes. Right.
Why is full color yelling at me? Because we missed a.
Oh, sorry. That was
fine. All right. Does this work? Should we try it? Sure. Also, should we have them spawn at somewhat random fullness?
I think. Well, I don't know.
Or should their adjustment be somewhat random? Like, I'm trying to get away from their all get hungry at the same time. Yeah, I should state my problem rather than my solution.
Whoa.
There is no material attached to prey clone.
Oh.
Where is the material then? So prefabs, prey. It's in the mesh renderer. No.
We had it before. Did my caching mess things up? Well, I'll just undo the caching. Oh, no.
No, it's in the lookup that it's failing, right? So let's see, console. Yeah, it's in the lookup. But why is... Oh, are we trying to read it after we're dead or something?
We haven't died. I think, do you want to look at in the inspector to see if we have a material? I don't see a material listed there. What is giving us our color?
What is this thing? Is this just a shader? Like, what is this? It's material. Right? I see it right here. Is there like an ordering to these? It's a material.
We did this before, right? Let's see. Unity.
Oh, didn't we have problems with this before? Like there was one thing that we like tried to move to the cacher. Oh, you're editing.
We're supposed to get component renderer. The renderer has a material property.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Getting the material didn't strike me the way we did before.
Maybe material is the deprecated way or something.
I think material hangs off the renderer.
All right. More semicolons. This is not Rust. We were talking about Rust in the green room because I've been going through Rust tutorials just to learn something new.
Okay, Rust is all about the question mark, not the semicolon.
It blew my mind. I was looking at this Rust tutorial and all of a sudden I was like, did they forget a semicolon? And then all of a sudden I realized that no, semicolons are optional in Rust half the time, which surprised me.
All right, want to give this a try? See if it worked.
Let's do it. Churning. Make that compiler a churning. Okay, what are we doing? Why are we going all towards the middle? Oh. Because our unit sphere.
Oh, it's very small.
Where is our... Well, we should be going to a point around us, not a point around the middle.
Oh.
Where is the... It's in our plan function, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this.
You want to say transform.location plus that?
Yeah, correct. You know where my...
Well, then do we want unit sphere or unit circle?
Well, the problem with unit circle is how do I add it to the right components? Because I don't want to add it to Y. I wanted to add it to... Yeah. So I think this thing right here, this gets abstracted into another method.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then we look at the way we look at something. Like also this just gets abstracted into another method, right? Because this is shared with that other, but whatever, that's a later problem. Oh, there we go. Oh.
They're wandering around. That's cool. They're not getting very hungry though. I feel like we
We'll walk through the food.
makes sense that they're not. But why aren't they getting hungry? Can we look at one of them and see what their fullness is, or we can only see their public variables?
Yeah.
We should make the fullness public while we're still debugging this.
Well, I tried to figure out how to debug, but I didn't yet.
The food is really piling up in this world. I guess this is what happens if the rabbits don't eat the food.
Why are they never getting hungry? What did we do?
The threshold must be messed up. Can you go look? I wonder if it's got initialized to 0 or something.
Oh, in the...
This whole like editor versus...
Well, none of these, like Prey doesn't make any sense to edit because it's a generated object, right? So it doesn't really make sense for any of these to be public. Does that make sense?
Why? I mean, you can edit them in the prefab, right? Like I can imagine one of the two.
Oh, I see.
Do we just see what values they have? Like I bet they had just total nonsense values.
Or they all have 0.
Yeah, the E threshold is 2. I think I said that. Like,
well, but E threshold read is the wrong thing, right? This is
what is
E
the
distance or whatever, right?
What is the gather threshold? Gather threshold. Oh yeah, those all seem fine.
All right, so you're right that we could cheat around not knowing how to use a debugger by making the fullness public. Like that's kind of dumb, but sure. But what is? Can we have broken in our adjust fullness? Fullness plus delta. What is this clamp? Oh, that's your problem.
That's totally the problem right there. This to me is one of the hardest things about writing in lots of different languages is the clamp function is just.
Well, or all these like core functions.
They're all just like slightly different and.
Okay, now they're all gonna like all decide all at once to be like, I'm hungry now. Oh, I see him turning red.
They're getting really red. But there's no food to eat. None of them want to wander around. What? Maybe if it doesn't find any food, it should wander.
Yes, definitely should. So how do we change our planner here? So if target food.
You just hit continue. Like you could take this away from an else to just be like.
Oh.
Just like that, right?
Well, but you don't really want to continue. You want to get to the yield.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could put the yield at the top.
The null, is that how you?
Oh, I see. Well, this is going to make it wander every time after it finds food, right? Because it's going to come back from this wait, and then it's going to go into the wander code, which I don't think is what you want.
Oh.
Right. So I think...
I see. I'm not used to writing a coroutine. I was writing like a different kind of function.
Yeah, so if your fullness is less, and you're able to find your closest food, then you gather. Otherwise, you do the thing.
Yeah. Like an else here that's like target food is null. And then if target food equals null, then wander around.
Sure.
Otherwise, yield for a second.
That'll be fine. That'll work. But the other thing is we need to make them die of starvation.
Okay.
So this is if fullness less than or equal to 0, then we die.
We dictionary entry. Because die is not a function that exists.
Ah! See, this is my speculative writing style just is wholly incompatible with this.
I will auto-complete it to you from the other computer.
I appreciate it. Void die. So this really needs to be in the like edible thing or whatever. So this should send an on die event, but we're just going to destroy game object.
Okay.
Do we need to return out after I die? Like what happens here? I think we have to return. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether Unity just like happily lets you keep on keeping on to a dead object, but
I think the destroys are slightly deferred, but I think it makes sense to return.
Oh, you're right. I think it does destroy at the end of the update loop.
Now here's my question. Well, what I was going to ask is, if we have a target food,
Mm-hmm.
like, are we going to cling on to dear life to make it all the way to the food? Like, is there like starvation rabbit like making its way for the last food?
V2.
Okay, okay,
I feel like I'm just saying no to you all night, but
that's cool.
I'm focusing. We got to get the ship, man.
Oh, stop converting your doubles to floats.
Oh my god, it's
Come
like
on.
the original sin, at least in C# land.
I just feel like there's gonna be like a mass rabbit death here in a moment.
Well, that's good though. Then we have to teach them how to reproduce. Yeah, they're going for it. Oh,
Then they get ooh. Phew.
so basically, our spawn rate can support one rabbit.
Well, that's fascinating to know. But the rabbit wanders too far; it won't be able to make it to the food in time, and it will die. That's what I was worried about. That's why I was thinking like starvation mode. It was gonna like make it to the food.
But if it's going to be in starvation mode, it needs to slow down. It needs to
Or go faster.
go faster.
Oh yeah, totally. Like I don't know. Okay, so we learned that our spawn rate can support only one rabbit.
Our rabbits are really small, or really slow too.
Just make them faster. Yeah, that's cool. Why don't we make them faster?
Which again should be on the spawner, not on the rabbit itself. But we will just change it here.
We should add it in the editor, right?
Well, but we have to move it into the spawner because we can't edit these generated objects.
You can just edit the prefab. Oh, I thought we.
Oh, I see. I hadn't thought about that. Max speed 3.
Oh, come on. Dude, live large. 10, man. These are rabbits. They're rabbits. They go fast.
Okay. I'll give you 5.
All right. I'll take it. Whoa! Vroom. Maybe they should have separate wander speed and like gather speed. Like I totally buy that their like wandering is slow, but their gathering is like super efficient. Uh-oh. It's locked on. It's locked on. Nope. Now the world will be full of plants forever.
Okay. I think this is good. We don't have stasis yet. I think we should up our plant growth speed.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that's here in terrain. Food per second.
Oh, you got to live large more. 6, yeah.
That's that one will spawn every 0.6 seconds.
Okay. I mean, so far we killed all the rabbits, so I'm just.
I see. Yes, I agree with you. Why does it look like they're glowing? What's the like?
I think you have some editor thing. Like there's a giant box that's also inhabiting the world with them.
Oh, I see. That's because we're watching it through the scene rather than through the game, anyways.
It's still not enough. Like they're still going to kill all the rabbits.
I think we're subsist on one rabbit. We do need to teach them rabbits how to make more. Like that's what rabbits do.
It's true. Okay, I feel like there's now enough food to support these 2 rabbits if they don't wander too far. If they would only go to where the food is.
Okay. This simulation could use some tweaking, but
we're getting there. No, I feel like we've gotten to an interesting point. Should we teach them to reproduce?
Let's teach them to reproduce. All right, so that's a 3rd state.
Is that a whole plan, or do they just like instantaneously reproduce when they hit some position?
So the thing that I watched on the YouTubes, the rabbits would, when they were full enough, would want to reproduce, and then they would go find another bunny.
Oh,
and then
yeah. I'm in. Just stop. We don't need to go into details of what happens at that point. but I'm in.
There's no details other than then they had genders, right? And the female bunny would then be pregnant for a while, and then there would be a small bunny that would get bigger, and the small bunnies would then go slower than the big bunnies. So like they had a much more complicated simulation.
Okay, I think we should MVP that and just hightail it for the closest bunny.
Okay. Hightail it for the closest bunny and instantly spawn another one.
When they get close enough, when they get to the not the eat threshold, but the reproduce threshold.
Do they both have to be in reproduce threshold? Or
if they both want to reproduce, I think you get twins. Isn't that how it works?
I don't know.
I think we need different speeds for the different modes, by the way. Because like reproduce mode, I like is it faster or slower than wonder mode? Like I've got so many questions.
Okay, fine. Okay, so you want gather speed. Gather speed. Wander speed. And reproduce speed.
Mm-hmm.
And gather speed. This is like a 2. It's like a 3. And this is like a 4. I think this should be reversed.
Okay.
You need food to survive. Bunnies come later. So they don't need to fully occupy the same zone.
The distance thresholds could be the same. This is like the reach. Like what is the reach of the bunny?
The reach. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So max speed.
So then we need a reproduce threshold, right?
Yep, make it so.
We're gonna make it a 7, I guess. I'm gonna remove the dead equals false. I think we're just gonna use Unity's state management for that.
Okay. Well, the question is, when do you stop the loop, or is it just while true? Like, how do you stop the coroutine, or does Unity just know how to kill all your coroutines? Probably.
I think probably. Let me figure out how to determine if my game object has been destroyed.
We're doing the grand refactor here. Do gather update. So this is gather speed.
There's an is destroyed accessor on game object.
Okay.
Totally makes sense.
You're saying it makes sense that there isn't one?
There is one.
Well, it says game object does not contain a definition for is destroyed.
Oh. Okay.
Is destroyed does not exist in the current context.
Okay, I'll keep researching this. Is this the last problem?
You can also say while true and like assume that Unity will not leak the coroutines. Like there's a like kill all coroutines method, so presumably Unity calls it for us, but maybe not. It's okay. When it yells at us about leaking coroutines, we'll do.
Oh, I see. The is destroyed was a question. That was like someone wished that thing existed. Oh. The game object equals null.
Okay.
This is a crazy comment. Unity engine overloads the equals operator for the game object type and returns null when the object has been destroyed. But actually, the object is still there, but has not been cleaned up yet. If we test both, we can determine if the object has been destroyed.
You're blowing my mind.
What?
This isn't even C# we're playing in, boys.
This reminds me of document.all.
Or C++, rather.
In the web, there's this amazing accessor on document called all, which is purely magic. Like it makes no sense. Like,
it's like 11 layers of magic too.
It is 11 layers of magic. It's a thing that exists in Internet Explorer that other browsers want to pretend doesn't exist. But then if the website just uses it, then they want it to be there so the website doesn't break. So any way you try to check whether document.all exists, the browser's like, nope, I swear this property does not exist on document. It's not a thing, until you use it. And if you just use it blindly without checking, the browser's like, okay, here you go.
So I spent too many years working on browsers, but it's like seared into my brain. So inside WebKit, which runs all the browsers these days, there are these different layers of ways that you can expose things to JavaScript. And like the outermost one is like the JavaScript object itself that like lives in the JavaScript VM heap. And then there's one that's like the implementation, the facade that then is like exposed to JavaScript. And then the inner one is like how the world actually works inside WebKit. And document.all is one of those that where there's like magic at each layer.
Normally, you want to put the magic as like in the implementation if possible, so at least on the outside the thing has a sensible looking interface. Unless you also need the interface to be magic.
There's just a lot of magic poured into that. Okay, besides reminiscing about browsers, where did we leave ourselves? We split our speeds.
Okay, great. Did you? Do we need to like go find the closest bunny?
Oh yeah, we have to actually teach it how to reproduce.
Should the target? Oh, right now it says target food. Should that just be target object? This is like if we're questing after it.
That should be fine. Target object, yeah.
I'll use my magic F2 technology. Okay. So we can do find closest.
I mean, the other thing is we could just use target location. Like, I don't think we actually need
the actual object. Well, we do.
Yeah, we do when we get there.
Tag, right? Find closest object with tag.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was food. What's the tag?
Plant. I will go tag.
You're gonna tag it as prey.
Sure. I'll tag it as prey. Prefix prey. Untagged.
To the reproduce threshold.
Add tag. Prey. I like that we are also now good enough at Unity that we can like independently code again. Okay. Where are you, Doctor? Yep.
The plant loop.
Okay.
Is the reproduce. Okay. All right. Otherwise, wander around.
This is starting to like look like something that makes sense.
So do gather update. Do wander update. Okay, so we need a do reproduce update. We should always have a target object, right? Because otherwise we won't go into this state.
Sorry, I'm okay, so we're off in
Refactoring your do gather update. What's happening?
sorry, I kept hitting. Sorry, I was trying to undo my undo and not realizing.
I think we have a single undo buffer, which makes co-editing really fun.
Why do we have a single undo buffer?
Because we're just jamming in the same.
We're jamming in the same buffer.
Jamming the same thing, yeah. It's like sort of like a screen share. Okay. I'm getting to the point where we're gonna have to spawn a new bunny.
Oh, that's easy.
Okay.
Oh, maybe that's not easy because we don't have the spawner.
Well, maybe we can make it an event or something.
Yeah, we make a reproduce event that the spawner can listen to.
So I've gotten to that point. So on line 126, we're now ready to do that.
Okay, so
you take over the editing.
okay, my consciousness is holding on by a thread here. Let's do on reproduce. Okay, and then we want spawner. Except we need to carry a. I don't know that system. I think system.action is always void. Wow, it's like the one thing. How do we need to pass something here? Right, we need to pass our location. I had to do that in one of my other.
We did that in the balls in bins.
But we did it with.
We used a fancier kind of event object. Action T delegate.
Oh.
It takes a single parameter. Namespace system. Yeah, so it looks like you can just parameterize it with.
Okay, great. So we want. Right.
Sure.
Well, we are going to get twins. It's going to be great. Right, because if they're both in reproduce mode, they're going to get within the like reach threshold, and they're going to be like, yeah. What happens? Does it cost a bunch of food to reproduce?
Oh yeah, totally. I think it should cost like half your fullness to reproduce. You should get hungry after you reproduce.
And who does it charge to?
Let's just charge ourselves. we can get fancier, but I think we're.
Oh man. Okay, so let's have the spawner. When we spawn a prey, we need. This is prey, not food. You can see I copy pasted here. Prey dot on. Let's fix our errors because it won't let me. That's current height.
Top position, maybe.
Okay. No. Okay, so let me actually add prey dot. What did I do to the other one?
You may need to type it more aggressively.
Component. Prey. On prey. On reproduce. I want prey produced. Okay. See, you can see my coding style and how it just fights this. Prey reproduced.
Parent.
Sure. Okay, and so.
Here, I'll refactor it. You can spawn prey, and I'll call.
Thank you. I think I want to pass it in a location and a radius.
Okay.
So I can do parent.location.
want a vector 3 radius or a vector 2 radius?
Actually, no radius necessary. Like I'll just pass a location. We can just spawn it literally on top. It doesn't matter.
Oh, you can also do the location adjustment on your end if you want.
Sure.
You can spawn it directly on top. I guess then they'll.
Well, they should
wander around, so that'll be okay.
Yeah, it'll sort of depend. Like it's going to spawn with full. Not hungry at all, right? Who knows? Spawn prey. I see.
At random location. Spawn prey.
I mean, some of what you really want is you want like a function that gives you a like random in map, random on map. But that's fine. Okay, we can press the go button. We lost track of time, sir.
I think we didn't. Did we make the reproducing consume fullness?
We did not. So they're just gonna like.
I feel like that's important. Otherwise, they'll just go crazy.
They also need to replan immediately, right? They can't be still in. Right, they need to like change modes after they reproduce.
Well, I think it's just go into water mode.
Or they should go honestly into food mode, shouldn't they? We should assume that it's time to eat. Maybe not. What happens if we just call plan right then and there?
Plan will, yeah, we made it to factor out the inner loop of plan. Oh, I see. Oh yeah, maybe we just call plan.
I don't actually know what happens if you call it and then you like ignore the return.
We'll find out.
Okay.
But we need to actually spawn the prey. So how do you do this? We say on reproduce.
If not null, you call it. You just
if fang equals null.
Yeah.
We need to initialize it somewhere.
I mean, this is a little lame. Like, really, they should probably spawn them themselves. But we're not going to fix that tonight because we're way over time.
Okay.
Although I will say it's good that we've found a project that we got excited enough about to lose track of time.
This is cool. I'm in for this. And then did you recall plan? Or I should just call plan again?
Let's just try just calling plan again. Yeah. Okay.
Do you want to check the parameters? Can you click on the prefab? I just don't trust that.
Object of type game is destroyed, but you're still trying to access it. We'll see if that's true.
Those all look reasonable.
Chase target object. That.
Oh, maybe the target object is gone.
Well, let's see if it's actually trying to take me there. No, it was. Chase target object. How are we calling chase target object after we've destroyed the...
Maybe if someone else eats the food. Target object. It was this null check before and I removed it.
Oh, yes. Correct. If someone eats the food, you lose your target object.
Okay. Whoa. I see. They start off at 1, so they like immediately want to reproduce. Something's wrong with our reproduce logic. They've.
Yeah, they're not getting charged for it.
Why don't we start off at 0.5?
Okay, but they're also not getting charged for it, I think. Pray. That must be in here. It must be hard-coded.
It's hard-coded. Okay.
But we still have a bug, clearly.
Yeah, we're also getting to the point where we should wrap up the episode. But I think we've got to a very interesting point. They seem to be able to reproduce without actually reaching each other. Okay. Oh, look at replanned. Yeah, see, it was able to reproduce without having to come in contact with something else.
I see. So where is our chase? Oh, this chase tells us if we're close enough? Is that what it does?
Yeah. It's fine. I think we should declare victory. I think we made huge progress in this episode, and I'm really interested in like where this is going.
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of fun here, and
like I think adding the predator is going to be pretty cool. But maybe we can do that next episode.
So for anyone who's still watching this long, I didn't show this at the beginning of the episode, but next week will also be a Wednesday episode. We will also be possibly less festively attired, and hopefully less tired.
Differently festively attired.
Differently festively attired. Anyways, it was fantastic to see you, Dr. Barth. You have a wonderful week.
Yeah, see you next week.
Take care.